Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 6 in college football. Right now we're talking with Al McMordie from BigAl.com, who gave us three great picks last week, 3-0 in our videos, three easy covers. And the college's pick was Missouri over South Carolina. That was a big winner. Al McMordie, thanks for being back with us.
Yeah, I don't know if Missouri was the easiest cover in the world. We can all send thank you cards to Steve Spurrier for his bonehead decision with 7 minutes to go in the game. He doesn't go for 2 points there. And because of that idiotic decision, you avoid overtime. You easily could have lost in overtime if South Carolina had won that ball game by, 6, 7, or 8 points. But yeah, it was a great week for us. We talked last week about how I got off to a slow start in the NFL this season. After going 83-57 last year in the NFL, we started this year 4-11, but last week in the NFL, 5-1. We cashed our NFL total of the month on the over in the Atlanta-Minnesota game. So it was a really good week for us all the way around, Peter.
Awesome. All right. So tell us a little bit about BigAl.com before we get your thoughts on Utah UCLA.
Well, I think it's the best handicapping website in the country for buying selections. I've got the best roster of handicappers besides myself. There's Ben Burns, Tom Stryker, Scott Streitzer, and Larry Ness. Lots of great information at the website. There's also 3 free picks every day. People can go to BigAl.com and click on free picks and get 2 winners for myself absolutely free. Get a winner from Larry Ness as well on our homepage at BigAl.com. So it's a terrific website for folks to get free plays and also to purchase selections.
Utah and UCLA is the college game you're going to cover this week, and right now UCLA is a 13-point home favorite. The total just came out at 61.5, so that's an opening line at Bookmaker that I saw. So that total could be quite different by the time this video gets produced and is out. But right now, 61.5, and just looking at how things went last week, right? UCLA, huge win over Arizona State, and Utah, they got an early lead, big lead against Washington State with some fluke plays, right? They had an 11-yard interception return, a punt return for touchdown, all that, and they couldn't hold it. They wound up losing outright as a double-digit favorite. So if you're just looking, at those last week's results, which is what most people do, which was what I do, that's how I handicap these games, you got to think UCLA at -13 is the play here, right? And I'm also thinking that, we've seen Utah put up 50 points. We've seen their offense get explosive, and of course we know what UCLA can do. So at 61.5, I definitely also be leaning towards the over. But what's your take on this game, Al?
Well, Utah went in and they upset my alma mater, Michigan, 2 weeks ago at the Big House, and at the time, it looked to be a pretty decent win, but then Michigan last week goes out and loses to a very mediocre Minnesota team, and now Michigan's got 3 losses on the season. So now you take a look at Utah's 26-10 win 2 weeks ago. Doesn't look that impressive, does it?
Right.
As you just mentioned, they had a huge 21-point lead last week against Washington State. They collapsed. They couldn't hold that lead. They lose by a point. And off that heartbreaking loss, now they have to travel to the Rose Bowl to play a UCLA team, which finally broke out last week and got a double-digit win. UCLA did win its previous 3 games, but failed to cover the spread in each of those 3 games, winning by single digits in all 3 of those games. Last week, of course, UCLA wins in blowout fashion. I think this is going to be a tough game for Utah to go in and cover, this 13-point spread. When teams are favored by 14 points, or less, and if they scored 50 or more in the previous game, these teams are now 91-62 if they're off a win and their opponent is off a straight-up loss. And that's a pretty reliable system to take UCLA. And I also don't like taking double-digit road underdogs off upset home losses as double-digit favorites, as those teams are 33% against the spread since 1980 versus opponents off a road win. I'm going to just take UCLA, and just with the I'll lay up to 14 points. If it goes higher, I don't want any part of UCLA.
Yeah, Al, I mean, that's the way I'm thinking. And just to take a quick detour here, you mentioned the Michigan game, and maybe you can maybe some people are wondering about that opening line against Rutgers this week because, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking Michigan's a team in shambles, and you saw their loss to Utah, and how come they opened at 3.5 or 4, and now they're down to 3? Maybe you can consider making Rutgers a premium play at your site this week. What about that?
Well, actually, I'm going to be looking at the Michigan Wolverines if I can get them at +3 or higher. I think that's the key number in this ball game. I do think Michigan's going to rebound off their losses, and I think this is actually a really good situation for Michigan going on the road as a short road underdog. I do need 3 points or more to make a play on Michigan.
Al McMordie from BigAl.com really knows how to analyze these lines and identify value week to week. And this week, I'm thinking that UCLA is going to be a public side, but might be a public and sharp side as well. Currently, the line is just 13. We'll see where this line closes. Big Al recommending a play on UCLA at minus 13. Thanks, Al.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.